Okay, so greetings. First of all, I want to thank you for being here and taking a moment of your time to participate in this meeting. The purpose of this meeting today is make the collaborative educational uh, workshop. So first, we want to start explaining what is the problematic that we found in our practice. And so the first, I'm going to start for the problematic that in my institution that I do my practice is the Institution Educative Luis Carlos Galán Sarmiento. The level of this institution is secondary, is a setting urban. Uh, the class size is like 26 students for class. The available research or technological results is only a TV, and the constraint is scheduled. So the classroom difficulties that I found is the teacher-centered methodologies. So I'm gonna explain. During my teaching practice, I observe a real class environment, and I have the opportunity to see the teacher use different strategies to teach. However, I noticed that the methodology was focused on grammar and translation. Always is grammar and translation. The English lesson were directly almost entirely by the teacher who explained grammar rules, provide translation, and controlled most classroom interaction, making the students played a passive role, mainly listening, taking notes, or completing writing exercise. Also, the communicative activities such as group discussions or role plays or games were rarely used. Uh, this traditional approach has been common for years and continues to influence how English is taught. Um, Another several factors that contribute to this situation is from a teacher perspective. I mean, the limited training the teaching in communicated or task-based an approach leads to reliance on familiar grammar-oriented methods. Meanwhile, students' factor are important and include shyness, fear speaking, and preference for teacher explanation than rather than participation. So the classes only make methods like worksheets, and in that worksheet, the student has to work to translate to complete sentence, even if the topic of the subject is comparative and superlative, the use of will and going to, and always the same structure is put in. The teacher explain the topic, the teacher give a worksheet, and the students work in that worksheet, and then he evaluates. Always, always, always. And it's a traditional form to teach English. So to address these challenges for me and for my thinking, it's essential to gradually incorporate more communicative and student-centered strategies into the learning process and lessons. For example, the teacher can start by integrating simple intervention or interactive activities such as paperwork or short role plays or information gaps exercise that encourage the students to use English meaningful context. For example, make role play games, storytelling games, then the students must improve and must invite and engage their their participation. Moreover, the professional development, the workshops, and peer collaboration could help teachers become more familiar with communicative and task-based approaches, fostering the confidence to beyond grammar translation methods. By implementing these small, consistent strategies, so the students and teachers can move toward a more dynamic and communicative learning environment. So that is my problematic that I found in my practice. So Brian, please tell us what is your problematic that you found in your practice.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for the interview. Okay, guys, during my teaching practicum at the Charco Tres Rural Educational Institution in Puerto Lleras Meta, I identified a recurring challenge, um, keeping students attentive and motivated during English lessons. At the beginning of each class, children participate enthusiastically in sounds and games, which are focused and in the fake when the activities required longer concentration on writing text. This situation, common in rural multi-grade contexts, led me to reflect on how environment factors, limited resource, and scarce exposure to English outside school directly affect classroom engagement. I realized that motivation doesn't simply depend on making activities fun, but connecting the emotional and cognitive dimensions of learning in a setting with limited access to technology. The main challenge was to design strategies that were simple, meaningful, and capable of sustaining attention. From this reflection emerged the idea of the creating a shared structure routine called the Activity English Corner. This is routine was implemented at the beginning and middle of each lesson to recognize students, reinforce vocabulary, and maintain a dynamic atmosphere. Through sounds, chants, and kid interactive games, social packs the word or bingo rates, students practice vocabulary while moving and collaborating. The activities follow with the total physical response, TPR, approach linking words with the physical action to enhance memory and confidence. They recruit only basic material, flashcard, a small ball, and the blackboard, showing that creativity can overcome material limitations. Over time, I noticed a clear improvement in the participation in the classroom attitude. Students began to look forward to the activity English corner as a joyful routine, and older children often supported younger ones, reinforcing the cooperative spirit of the Escuela Nueva model. At the end of each class, a brief reflection allowed we tend to share what high hard learning on enjoyed it, promoting metacognitive awareness in our sheet of their learning process. Guided by Sean and concept of reflective practice in Vygotsky, a sociocultural theory, this is experience transforming difficulty in the professional growth. It taught my that teaching in rural context is not about affecting scarcity, but about transforming it into an opportunity for the creative innovation. The activity English Corner provides that when learning connects movement and emotion, reflection, attention, natural follows. And mindful learning truly happens. Okay, thank you. This is my intervention. Now our colleague Lina will tell us a little about her practice context. Go ahead, Lina.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I would like to share the main educational challenges observed and Rio Duda Educational Center, El Turpial Campus, and rural multi-grade school located in Mesetas Meta. The school has classroom 1 for 17 students from preschool and 5th grade. Resources are limited, few textbook or for internet connections, and no school transportations. Classes are developed under the new school model. The main insight is the lack of individuation size of grades study together, students get easily destroyed, and it becomes difficult for the teacher to adapt activities for each level. There there are also challenges as English, ICT, and financial math are integrated into one project. The name is English Project Today, which is still in an adaptation process. Teaching is in this context require creative flexibility and extraordinary that autonomy, even with few resources, meaningful learnings can be when there is invited and commented. Rural education it does educations and controlling students and that's experiences. That's my interventions. Thank you. Madeline, go ahead.
So, guys, now the issue that I have found in my pedagogical practice place was a lack of motivation. So, first of all, to put you into context, I was in the same institution as Kevin, but I was teaching to 10th and 11th grade. Normally, in that school, all English teachers use the same method, so they only focus on grammar, and that's everything that they can taught. They can teach, sorry, because of first the students' behavior, because it's in that school, it's really like heavy their behavior during the classes. And on the other hand, we have also that they don't feel really attached to the topic, so they are um, unwilling to do the things that they have to. So in this case, I had the opportunity to teach to 10th and 11th grade, and it was with a new teacher because he was not there when I went before. And in this, for this season, they were just looking at speaking evaluations. For example, we were preparing for a speech in which the students have to introduce a famous character. It can be from a cartoon or a real a character from, I mean, a celebrity or something like that. So we, I mean, I had an easy job this time because I just have to help them to create a script that they will present during their presentation and help them with the pronunciation. So even though I helped them with all of that, they were not prepared at all when presenting the character. So I consider myself a good at what I do. So I dedicated enough time to all students with the teacher, obviously with the other teacher, to help them with the pronunciation, to drive them to the poster that they had to design. But at the end, about from 33 students that were in only one class, there were only three people that presented the speech. So it is about no motivation, but about willingness. So most of the time, students just feel that they are not into the topic, so they decide not to do the things that they must at school. So this is something really sad for them because they miss the opportunity of practicing English at school, which is practically what they have to do. And the possible causes that I have found for this was lack of understanding the language. And this is really crucial because only like five or three students understood what I said, or in general, they just interpret what I say. No, understood everything, but they interpret what I meant, and that is the first issue that can lead to the principal one. Then the lack of participation in the activities, as I mentioned before, even if they had the rubrics that we designed to evaluate them with the speech and with the spelling bee too. We give them the words for the spelling bee, the list, the pronunciation, and we practice it like every class. But at the end, they decided not to participate. And the other a cause that I found is the poor pronunciation, especially for the spelling bee. The spelling bee was like, I give them a word, and the rule was that as soon as they get the word, they have to pronounce it again, then spell it, and then pronounce it when they finish. So, for example, lack. So they have to pronounce lack, or let some say something like participation. So I give them this word, participation, and they pronounce it like participación or participation. So they change completely the pronunciation, even if they just have listened to it. So it's something that that show us that they are not prepared at all for even tiny things in English, and is really like disappointing because it will be prejudicial for them. And that's it. So, what consequences they can get? So, as they limited themselves to participate, they avoid any kind of opportunity to make mistakes. And that's the way I have always said. It's the way how you learn. You learn from mistakes, and that's everything that you can do for improving when you make a mistake. So, it's how can I say this? It's something to work on, to encourage the students to participate and not to be afraid of making mistakes, because everyone makes mistakes and that's normal. That's what humans do. I mean, and in regarding the situation that we find out with teacher in charge, is that we decided to make them in pairs, in groups, to improve their encouragement and to invite them to participate more than normal. But it didn't work at all. In some of them it did, but in others not. And well, and this is what we will try to identify during this workshop. And I have a identified one of the similarities with the other contexts, even though we have two different contexts, rural and urban areas. And I have identified that there are limited resources, not only about, um, I mean, sorry, devices, electronic devices like TVs, computers, or tablets, something like that, but also about the content, the kind of content we teach at schools. So I don't know if one of you have identified any other similarity in our issues, in our cases that we just have explained.
Okay, thank you, Madeline, for intervention. Um, Therefore, we can identify that we have to the very different contexts. Here in rural areas, we identify different situations such as lack of resource and the other factor that directly affect language teaching. In urban areas, uses rely to motivation and participation in second language learning. Tier before, I believe that the topics we call address will be inspiring English in meta, navigating motivation and limiting resource. Okay, do you agree, guys?
Yeah, for me it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a topic interesting. I agree.
Okay.
Something that you, Lina, and Brian can do is to invite one of the teachers from your areas, as you were in rural areas, both of you, I guess. Yeah. So, what you can do is to invite one of the teachers from there to give us, I mean, their, sorry, their viewpoint regarding the issues that we have identified, and that way you can expand their ideas, and we can get to to a solution that can be um, applied on your context and also in ours. Additionally, I feel that it is necessary to have a guest, and I will um, suggest two of my colleagues at work. One is my boss. He is from Canada. His name is Wayne. And I feel that with his experience in teaching English, it would be amazing for us to have a different viewpoint from these issues that we have just realized. And the other is one of the teachers that works there too. Her name is Karen Hill, and she is an English teacher. And additionally to working to where I work, actually, um, she works in high school, in a public high school here in Granada, so she can help us to arrow any alternative, any strategy that can lead us to the solution of these issues.
Okay, chicos. Okay, guys. Thank you for interview and the participation. See you later.
Okay, guys, see you then.
Thank you. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.